So the other day in East Jerusalem, the Israeli army attacked Palestinians inside of Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is like the third holiest site in Islam, while they were praying, and they used like rubber bullets and tear gas and things like that. And then while they were doing that, they were also evicting some of it, like a couple families from this like one neighborhood called Sheikh Jarrah, I think. And yeah, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, always a contentious part of the world on that one, right? Especially as we approach. I believe like it's always decided by Mecca on like the first. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but the idea of like with the sighting of the crescent moon. So Eid either falls today or tomorrow. I believe it's tomorrow that Eid falls on. But at the same time, with these like Israel and Palestine and being contentious, and when you have Netanyahu say like actively poking the building places where, and when not just like it in some places it literally seems to be Netanyahu who's only the one, and the UN has kind of like condemned, like, please do not do this, do not build along in these new areas, do not use this. There needs to be peace and prosperity if this is to go forward on this one. And there's a continually poking at this point. But like Netanyahu has his whole thing on problems. Like, I don't, if any of you have paid attention to the Israeli election system, they've had I believe 4 or 5 elections over the past like year and a half, because the elections are just too close to count, and so he's kind of banked on the like extreme of one end on this one to try and like that there's enough voters to like tilt him, and so he's kind of like going all in on this kind of plan. And never mind, he's got his own like scandal investigation, several scandal investigations. So this, anything to keep his name out on that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
I just wanted to bring it up. It's very much an apartheid state, and like that, like them evicting those people and everything. So like it's ethnic cleansing. It's modern day. It's like, yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I agree 100%. My family is very like pro-Palestinian rights, and for my grade 12 law like final paper, I wrote about like how Israel is breaking many international like laws and committing war crimes on the Palestinians. And I just think the whole situation doesn't get a lot of like a lot of people don't acknowledge it, and that's mainly because there's not a lot of press around the whole situation. And I think it's really interesting how, like, I've noticed some like actors or like celebrities, I guess, who have had like controversial pasts concerning Palestine and Israel, they're not as heavily weighed as someone who has like other, like who's done other like.
You know what? I think people are allowed to support Israel, and there are people who do.
Well, and this is where we get in. So if we go back to Colin's point, right, about this idea of like, this is a very, very touchy subject on this one, because as I said, we have people in this class that you'll have your own opinions on this, on the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. Everyone will have their own thing. Either if you have an opinion and are up on the issues, you have your opinion, and if you have family over there, or you are from there, that enters a whole other personal stake in this conflict as well. So when we talk about this object, right, there is an idea of like of discussion around these subjects definitely should be heard, but we have to be very careful with the idea because like it's hard to change someone's mind when they have family and friends that are directly involved with the conflict on this one. And we all like as a my we all have this, right? So we have to. So conversation is good. But we just have to be careful on when we talk about, because as I said, everyone, like a lot of people in this class, never mind in the country, in our city, have a very real connection to this. The one thing I would like to point out though is that area again has a long history of conflict on this one. But this is not like brought up some of the history, but it doesn't start there. It goes back even further than that. Like it goes back into you can even trace these lines back to the Crusades themselves. The one thing that we talk about the Middle Ages, like as like it's nicknamed the Dark Ages, that's literally Europe. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, cities are thriving. They are like some of the most advanced things that we've seen. Like even like we know now that cities in Libya, in what is known as Iraq and Iran, were even dabbling in the idea of experimental eye surgery at this time. And then through series of crusades and attacking and pillaging, things then tore apart and then like attack and then war and then like once one atrocity is done, then the other atrocity happens and it keeps on building and building and building. It is very important to note though that when we talk about these issues, that generally when we talk about like like an attack on a people's, especially when it comes to religion, it is not the religion that is dictating that. It is people that are steeped in hate that are bringing this forward on this one. Friends of mine, Jewish friends of mine, escaped Iraq when Saddam at the time was like attacking Jews on this one. That's nothing to do with religion on that one. That is just a hateful person that is bringing in forward on this one. It's the same thing with even when we talk about any person in charge that is attacking another group of people, especially based on religion. The religion is not at fault there. It is the person at this point. One of my favorite things to talk about is religious debate. As long as we agree that we're not going to change each other's minds, let's have a conversation of what we believe, and it becomes good conversation. But as soon as you get into like, well, you did this and you did this and you did this and you did this, then like it's not the religion that dictated that. It was people that were, I don't know, like some people don't want to stay in power. Some people want to spread hate. So it's like these are all things. It's not the religion, it's the person. And that's a very clear line that we always have to understand that is in there. I've always viewed like any religion as like, it's like, do you blame the gun or the person who shot the gun? I tend to go with this person who fired the gun on this one. A gun can be used to help, protect, give safety, give all these things, but in the hands of a wrong person can do incredible damage. And it's the same thing with when we talk about like religion and ideas and stuff like that. So we have to be very careful that we are not going on to like a religion that says something when it's actually just a policy of a bad person, a bad regime, and we go into, and that's any person that targets another group of people, especially when it comes to religion. That's all. Like there's a giant amount on this one. And then again, because like it's true, like when we talk about this area, people tend to like, well, I don't want to, I don't know, I don't. And again, if you're not aware of everything, then yeah, that's a decent point. But the end result of that point of back in ways that you don't actually learn what's happening there to make your own opinions. And again, though, but like some opinions, people in this class have direct ties to this area. So it becomes a very personal issue.
I just wanted to comment. I really like what you said about people kind of like backing down from the subject and like not commenting on it because like, and it's them kind of like not willing to learn. Like I have a similar situation. Like I find that similar with politics. I have a younger sister and she's like, Lauren, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about politics. And when I was in 9th grade, neither did I. But like I feel like I said to her, I was like, well, you know, like it's partially because you don't feel like it directly impacts you, you know, because we as like human beings, like we're kind of like selfish creatures, you know, we're only gonna like talk about things that like directly impact us and things like that. But I don't know, like I thought that was interesting, that like the little comment that you made there, just saying like people aren't gonna talk about it, but that means they're also not gonna like learn about it and back down from the subject. I don't know.
Okay, so other thoughts before we move on. Monday, first thing Monday morning. Okay, Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Here we go. It's going to be a week. It's like, so. Any other final thoughts? Not final thoughts, because it's not like great we solved it. It becomes a much larger issue on this one.